controls, and congratulations on your new workspace. My name is Langton, and as an office designer, I want to fill you in on a few tips that will help you customize your workspace so that you have an ergonomically correct position while you're working. So this word ergonomics, it gets thrown around an awful lot, and there can be a little bit of confusion, but quite simply, it's how you interface with the tools that you use to work. Now, when we're talking about an office space, we're talking about 3 tools that we want to focus on. The first one is the monitor, second is the keyboard, and most importantly is the desk chair. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do when adjusting the monitor, and this is really going to be easy because of the adjustable arms on the monitor, but the top of the monitor should be equal to the height of your eyes. So there should be a straight alignment right here. And the reason is because you want to avoid this type of activity. You know, in this day of laptops, we tend to have our monitors and our screens a little bit on the low side. So don't get trapped in that bad habit. So eye height, and then the screen should be 17 to 22 inches away from your eye. You'll find if you're leaning in, or conversely, if you're leaning back, that's going to create stress on your neck and your shoulders, and quite honestly, it can be indicative of eyesight issues. So the correct position at your monitor is ears over your shoulder, neck and spine straightly aligned, 17 to 22 inches away from your eye, and the top of the screen is supposed to be eye height. Now when it comes to your keyboard, it's all in the wrist, literally. What you want to strive for is a nice straight alignment from hand to wrist to forearm. Nice neutral line. Avoid going like this, avoid going like this. Nice neutral line. So now let's go to tool number 3, which is the desk chair, and probably the centerpiece of your ergonomic environment. The manufacturer of your desk chair is Sitonit, and Sitonit actually happens to be one of my favorite chair manufacturers for a variety of reasons, but mainly because of features that they offer. The first feature I want to talk about are the adjustable armrests. By simply pinching the buttons underneath each armrest, you could raise the arms to whatever height you would like. Now remember I was talking about maintaining that nice neutral line when you're working at a keyboard? Well, this is how you can use the adjustable armrests to your advantage. Use them to help support that forearm to maintain that neutral line right through the wrist. The next thing I want to talk about is on the left-hand side, there is a big fat knob. Now, these chairs come equipped with what's known as a tilt back. And the purpose of the tilt back is to allow you to every once in a while stretch out those back muscles. Good to do about every 20 to 30 minutes while you're working. But for some reason, if you don't want to tilt back, you have the option of rotating the fat lever clockwise, and that will lock it into position. If you then rotate it counterclockwise, you release that lock, and you can now stretch out those back muscles. Next position, or next feature that I want to talk about is this paddle lever on the left-hand side. When you lift it, it slides the seat back and forth. Now, have you ever seen somebody sitting on the edge of their seat working? When they do that, they don't get the benefit of the back support, but the seat may be too deep for them to fit properly. By adjusting this sliding seat pan, you can select what works for you so that your back is snug up against the lumbar. One other thing, you want to have some space in between the back of your knee and the waterfall edge of the seat. because you don't want to impede any circulation of your legs. Now, the next feature I want to talk about is the lumbar support. Your chair comes equipped with what's called lumbar adjustable bands. And because these chairs are new, they're a little bit stiff to move up and down, but it just adds another layer of support in your lumbar region. So by simply pulling these bands up and down, you can adjust the height of the lumbar support. Next features I want to talk about are on the right-hand side of your chair. That fat knob, again, it dials counterclockwise and clockwise. What this does is, remember that tilt mechanism? Well, this controls the tension in that feature. So if you want the tilt to be a little bit harder, not as far back, then you rotate it in the clockwise position. If, however, you want less tension and be able to go back farther, then you rotate it in the counterclockwise position. And a word of note with that feature, it will take more than 1 or 2 revolutions. It's not uncommon for 10 to 12 revolutions before you notice a difference. So the last feature I want to talk about is this paddle lever underneath on the right-hand side. If you lift it, this is where your pneumatic height is. Now, adjustable height chairs are certainly not uncommon. In fact, I think every chair has them. But most people don't understand the correct position and the correct height of their chair. A lot of people think it has to do with the length of your legs. Not really. What you want to be looking at is the relationship between your knee and your hip. They should be equal height, or your hip should be slightly higher. In other words, there should be a 90-degree angle or slightly more. What you absolutely don't want is you don't want your knees to be higher than your hips, because then you'll be putting all the stress in your back and your hips. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because if you raise your knee higher than your hip, you'll notice your back rounds out, and yet if you put your knee lower than your hip, it starts forming that arched position, which then fits snugly into this curve here. So, there you have it. The features on your new chair and the adjustable features in your new workspace, so that you can customize and create an ergonomically comfortable and healthy position while you work.